Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this webinar. It's designed to help you adjust your sales and marketing strategies to get the most out of virtual events. I'm Melissa Magestro, and I'm with Informa Markets Engineering. As many of you know, we have had to cancel many of our 2020 live events, but this has given us an opportunity to go in a different direction and continue to help our communities, our buyers and our sellers to connect and engage in different ways. And I'm really pleased that we've been able to offer several new virtual events and expos in the various market segments that we serve. I want to introduce you now to Jefferson Davis. He's had many years of experience in the trade show industry, helping show organizers and associations to provide exhibitors with the tools they need to be successful on site at live events. But like many of us, he's pivoted now to helping exhibitors to find those critical success factors that are going to give them the most out of their virtual experiences. So now, Jefferson, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Melissa, again, and thanks everyone for being here. I'm really humbled and honored that, wow, we've got such an incredible registration rate and an incredible turnout for this session. And I really take this very serious that you've given me your time to be here today. As Melissa said, I've been around trade shows. I exhibited at my first trade show in 1985. So I got tossed into my first show. I really became a student of exhibiting back in 1989, and in 1991 launched Competitive Edge Training, which is solely dedicated to helping companies get the maximum results from trade shows. And over those years, we've learned a lot of lessons about what works, what doesn't, and have really identified the critical success factors. So what changed for me all the way back in March, Friday the 13th of all days, when I got back from my last trade show, which was Modex in Atlanta, which I was there March 9th through 11th, was, the dominoes started falling. And I quickly saw that virtual was going to be the stopgap, to help us get through this. So I immediately started researching virtual exhibiting platforms. And what I wanted to understand was what were the exhibitor-facing functions, the functionalities. And I got my team together of 10 trade show experts, several of which who are CTSMs, Certified Trade Show Marketers. And if we have any of you on the webinar today, big shout out to you, CTSMs, congratulations. And we started working on strategies, ideas, and practices to help us fully optimize the functionality of virtual events and how to drive traffic to our virtual exhibits. And so over our three-part series here today, we're going to do a really deep dive on that piece. But today, what today is about it's just about really the purpose of today is we're going to talk about the collective consciousness of really our whole country and maybe our whole world right now. And we're going to try to give some guidance and direction on how to begin to change the narrative, which starts with each one of us internally, right? So we can start changing the way that we're looking at this and the way we're reacting to it. And then we're going to move into how to make some subtle adjustments to marketing. And when I say marketing, I'm talking about outside of shows too, not just at a virtual show, not in a live show. I'm talking about in your day-to-day, your week-to-week, your marketing strategies. Then we'll go after sales, some of the things we want to be focusing on to adjust our sales strategies. And then we'll move into exhibiting and virtual exhibiting. So the process will be that. I'm going to cover a lot of content. Please take notes. Please ask questions. The payoff, my hope and dream for every one of you is that this webinar is the tipping point for you, that you come off this webinar maybe feeling a little less fearful and a little more confident and courageous about what's ahead, and that you walk out of here with very practical ways to adjust marketing, selling, and that for the time being, as we're being forced to go to virtual, that you are comfortable and confident in coming into the virtual expo arena and getting your fair share. So make sure you got your workbook, make sure you got your pen, because we are going to get things rolling right now. Now, what I want to learn today, right out of the gate, we've got a very large audience on today's webinar, and we've promoted it through various means, including LinkedIn and others. So what I'd like to know out of the gate for everyone on here, fastest fingers, is your company currently a contracted exhibitor at an Informa Markets event? Yes? No? Hopefully. Maybe you don't know. If you don't know, you don't have to respond to that now, but look into it. So I just want to figure out, are you currently contracted at an Informa Markets event? And I'll give you just a moment. Fastest fingers, about 60% of you have polled. If you haven't polled yet, go ahead and click that radio dial button now. 65%, I'll give you a few more seconds. I'll give you the countdown here in a moment. On 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to close the poll in a moment. We're at 75%. Keep those buttons coming. I'll give you just another moment. We're still getting action. Okay, 75%. That would be a representative sampling, and I'm going to share the results. Melissa, you'll have a chance to see. It looks like 54% of our audience today is currently contracted, 32% are not, and the 14% are in I don't know. So thanks for sharing, everybody. We will have a few more polls as we go through, but here's what I want to say to you. I, like all of you, have exhibited at a lot of shows in my career. During my entire run of history, both my own companies and the companies I consult and train for, over 200 shows. And I got to be honest, 95% of the time, I felt like the only time I heard from the show organizers were when they wanted to sell me something, or they wanted a check, or they sent me that, in the old days, remember when we used to get mailed that big 3-ring binder service kit, and now it's all digital, or when they sent me that kit with all that stuff I had to do. And I've had the honor and the privilege of working with many of the Informa show divisions. And what I came to realize, when they are truly a breed apart, I think their core philosophy is they don't want to just rent you space, concrete or virtual, and hope it works out for you. They see their relationship with you as a person, as a company, as a marketer, as an exhibitor, as a long-term partnership. And they understand, right, that an educated customer is their best customer. And so over the years, Informa Markets has invested a lot of financial resources in helping their customers improve their exhibit, their marketing, their sales knowledge, right? And there's not a lot of shows that do that. For those of you that have exhibited other shows, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's like the only time you hear from them, again, they want to check, they want to sell you something, they send you that service kit. So I'm really humbled, honored, and blessed to be part of Melissa's team and really the entire Informa Markets team who cares so much about the exhibitors. It's not true everywhere you go, so you know that. So thank you very much for being part of that. All right, so we're going to get started here. This first module is going to be a little intense because I think all of you will agree that we are probably living right now in the most intense times of most of our lives. These are very difficult times. I was at Las Vegas at Expo celebrating, 2019, and wow, what an incredible year, and getting ready for 2020 to be another best yet. And boom, February, March, the rug got pulled completely out under all of our feet. These are difficult times. These are challenging times, right? But the thing to remember is, that tough times, they come and they go. One of my mentors said it best. He said, Jefferson, life is like the changing seasons, and you could argue that we are in the winter right now. It's the cold, dark time. But you know what comes after every winter? Without fail, spring. And so tough times don't last, but tough people do. And so right now, what's going on is the collective consciousness, right, of the world and of countries and of companies and industries and families and individuals is fear, right? And this is a very challenging fear, right? Because the pandemic and the government and the media's response to this has pushed the four most powerful fear buttons that you could ever push in the human psyche. Fear of ill health, fear of death, fear of other people, and fear of poverty as industries and jobs and everything. And fear is a survival instinct, right? We've all got it, that reptilian part of our brain, it's neurologically wired to respond to fear in three ways. There's three ways we're going to respond to fear, right? Number one is we're going to fight, right? And that's not always going to end up well. We're going to get out and do crazy stuff and wild stuff and risky stuff, right? Or we're going to flight, right? We're going to run from it, right? Move far and as fast away as I can from this. Or number three, we're going to hide, And so my call to action to every human being that I touch today is that for us as individuals, families, companies, industries, countries, the way we're going to get out of this is we're going to have to move from fear to courage, from fear to confidence, right? Because fear, while it's a survival instinct, it's also a negative and it's a disempowering emotion. And there's really only three ways. And the thing is that we all have to make a choice now that we're 7-8 months into this. Are we going to allow fear to be a jailer, meaning our motto is going to be FEAR, forget everything and run, right? Which is happening a lot. Or are we going to allow fear to be a counselor, an advisor, face everything and rise? And each one of us has to make that choice. Okay, so we've really got to, begin to step back and look at all this, and maybe seek second and third opinions about what's happening and expert counsel, and because when we are in reaction mode, right, it's react, right? It's not going to produce positive outcomes for us individually and those that we love and serve, right? The longer we stay in fear, the more we're going to be about self-protection and survival. And we're just not wired to do that as human beings. We are a social creature. We're social beings, and so we've got to really think about that. And the key thing to remember here, I don't know how many of you have read Stephen Covey's amazing book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Dr. Covey so eloquently said, the thing that separates the human being, us, this magnificent creature, from maybe the animals is the ability to choose our response, right? And with all this fear coming at us, it's very easy to react. And trust me, even though I know all this stuff, I've been through some very dark days over these last 7 months. And it's a battle, but I've chosen now to take an absolute step forward and to use fear as a counselor, not a jailer. And I'm choosing every single day in every moment to not react, but to respond. So what's required from all of us right now is clear, rational thinking. That may mean turning off the news, tuning out of the social media for a while to really gather your own individual thinking and thoughts. Action, thoughtful, strategic action, right? We're going to have to act. We're going to have to move. We're going to have to do something, right? We can't hide forever, right? And then it's going to take courage, and it's going to take confidence to step up, rise up, and move forward. And as an individual, a family, a neighborhood, a city, a county, a state, a nation, this is what's going to bring us out of that. We're going to have to move out of that. So here are 3 maybe action steps, to help us start maybe walking this scary path. Hey, by the way, courage doesn't mean that you don't have fear. Courage means that you feel the fear, but you act in spite of, right? So number one, recognition. Just acknowledge the challenge, right? Face the current reality. What is it? Recognize, see things as they are. This is a great phrase. Write this down. See things as they are, but not worse than they are, right? See things as they are and not worse as they are. Pay very close attention to your responses. My wife and I literally on our refrigerator have a feeling chart. We have this circle that I found online that has feelings. And whenever either of us get into that insecure, intense emotional state, we either or both will go and ask, what am I feeling? Right? And we'll trigger what that feeling is and paying closer attention to your responses. Made a conscious decision a couple months ago to really limit my exposure to the news, just that all we hear about is the total number of cases and the number of new cases and the number of deaths, and the stuff is just everywhere you look, right? But also, you have been through challenges before. I have, our industry have. In 08, 09, we went through the financial collapse. We went through 9/11. Prior to 9/11, we were already in a recession. You, me, all of us have been through challenges before. Please go back to and think about the challenges you faced and that you overcame those challenges. And finally, have faith, right? Not blind faith, but have faith. You are going to be okay in the end. We're going to be okay in the end, but not blind faith. Blind faith doesn't mean, you step off of a building and, it's no problem, I'm not going to fall and splatter. No, you will. Gravity is going to take care of that, right? So have faith, right? Number two is reassess. Take a careful look at what you feel individually, job-wise, company-wise. Where are you vulnerable right now? What are your vulnerabilities? Take a look at what you perceive your risks to be and ask, how can I reduce or mitigate this risk? Explore opportunities right now. As a business person, here's a really great question to ask yourself. How are you uniquely positioned? Your company, your products, your services, how are you positioned to help your customers right now? Here's another great question for all of us to ask. Why are your products, why are your services even more important now than they were before? The phrase, I don't like to use the phrase, but it's been really pushed upon us. Why are you and your products and services essential? As they closed everything down, it was they, quote, essential businesses that stayed open. And we all have to fight, right? We've all got to find our voice, and we've got to take it out to the marketplace, and we've got to do it with courage. And finally, you'll come up with a new set of priorities for the coming months. Like all of us, the exposition industry, we got forced, right, to this virtual. We don't, if we want to serve you and our markets and our customers, and that changed our priorities at what we're doing. And sometimes change is good. There's, every adversity carries with it the seed of a greater benefit, right? The question is, can we find that? And so recognize what's happening, see things as they are, not worse than they are, right? Reassess your position, begin to try to see things maybe as better than they appear to be, and then finally respond, right? The third R, respond. Develop your action plan. Most of you are probably well down the path on your plan, and remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Good is okay right now. A lot of this is new. I don't think any of us have all the answers, right? And don't wait. Don't get caught in the perfection trap, analysis paralysis. Done beats perfect should be the motto right now. I've thrown myself into so many new things that are pushing me, stressing me. I'm honestly working harder now per day, psychologically, physiologically, than I have in the last 10 years, right? But I've really got that philosophy now. Done beats perfect, right? So, and speed of execution is so important. Don't overthink it. If the idea feels right, listen to your gut. If it makes sense to you, get busy, take action, move now, right? Respond. Communicate. If there was ever a time to deepen your communication with your customers and your prospects, now is that time. And there's three really major themes to your communications that you want to be sending out. Is number one, you are really important to me, to us. Everybody wants to feel important. Number two, I am committed to helping you. Whatever it takes to help you get through and past this, I'm here for you. I'm here with you. Number three, here's what specifically what I believe I can do right now to help you. And if you'll really keep these three kind of themes around your customer and your prospect communications, you'll be right in the pocket of where you need to be right now. So as I close this part on moving from fear to confidence, I'm going to challenge every one of us. You know, if you came into this viewing fear as a jailer, I'm going to challenge you to begin to try to shift your thinking and your perspective to try to start using it as being a counselor. Because again, we all need each other right now. And if we stay locked in this place of fear for much longer, 6 months, a year, this is not going to end up well. But it's going to take courage. It's going to take thoughtful action from every single one of us. And that's my, let's move this thing from fear. Okay, so now we're going to shift gears here. I just wanted to kind of come out of the gate and, you know, because our mindset is literally 60 to 70% of what's going to come. So I really want to spend a few minutes on mindset. What I'd like to ask you in my second poll here is, has your company reduced your marketing activity and or your marketing budget? Fastest fingers, click the radio dial button that applies. Oh, you guys and gals are awesome. Thank you. We're already up at 70% of you have polled. If you haven't done so, fastest fingers, go ahead and do so. And I'll give you a moment to just kind of, if you haven't polled, I'm going to share the results. I think it's important to kind of see where everybody, you know, what our colleagues are doing, what our friends are doing, how we're all, you know, reacting or responding to this. 75%, that is representative sampling. Okay, so Melissa, take a peek here. You'll see it looks right now that about 54% of our community here says, yeah, you know, we've reduced our marketing budget and or our activity. 36% of you said, no, you know, we're staying the course. And 11% of you are, I don't really know. So let's talk a little bit the importance of continuing to market. There's some hidden benefits. Remember I said every adversity carries with it the seed of a greater benefit? Because everybody has been knocked so strongly off center, the people's attention to content and media has increased dramatically. People are paying closer attention now than they have maybe over the last 7 or 8 or 9 years when we were in the robust economy, right? And that you know, that's a good opportunity. You know, I'm seeing higher open rates on my emails than ever before. The number of people we have registered on this webinar today is off the chains. Melissa and I looked at it before we went live, and we were like, oh, my God. You know, so just know that that is one of the hidden advantages of this, is that everybody is trying to figure out how do we get back to what do I need to do differently? How do I survive this, or how do I thrive from this? And that's a really good thing for marketers. Number two is, as you saw in this audience, 36% of your competitors may very well be reducing both their marketing spend and their activity. And what that means for you is there's less clutter, there's less noise, right? And the ability to really get your message through and get people to engage with it and process it is higher. You know, the less direct competitive noise they have, the higher for you, the better for each one of us who are. Number three, please don't forget this. Your customers, your market has new problems. They have new needs, right? And they are desperately seeking answers, expert guidance, help, and guidance, right? All of this. And you also still have a business to run. You have goals to achieve, you know? So the customers have also been knocked off center, you know? And that, again, opens the mind. Hey, I tell you what, you all know this. When business is booming and we're all just, the orders are coming in so fast we can hardly keep up, we're not paying very close attention to our emails, are we? We're not looking very close at advertising, are we? Why? Because we're so busy doing what we do, right? We're not really, looking to innovate. We're just trying to take care of what we have, right? But that's changed, right? That's exciting time. Now, I believe right now is the perfect time for every company to expand their visibility and increase their market awareness, their brand awareness in the market. And your two main channels, if we're talking big baskets here, right? Number one is advertising, whether it's print, whether it's digital, whether it's direct mail, whatever, whether it's social media, whatever, right? But what advertising does, the key thing, there's a difference here. Advertising is really, it generates awareness, and it's usually best for product services featuring, focusing, and generating leads, right? Advertising. But sponsorships, these two operate in different cognitive processes. While advertising does a really good job of awareness about product services and demand generation, sponsorships operate in a different cognitive process. It's about improving the customer's perception of the sponsoring company. Essentially, the impact of sponsorships is that it causes people to increase their likeliness to consider your company, right? And then drive current and future purchase intent. If I were to use the example of a live event and you were the company that sponsored the opening reception, right? And your name is all over the place, and a percentage of the audience knows you and they have some understanding of what you do, and they, what your value proposition is, what your unique selling proposition is, but they're not doing business with you, right? And all of a sudden you sponsor this fun event. There's music and there's food and people are having drinks and they're laughing, and the people go into the event and they walk out and going, boy, that was a really good time. That competitive edge company that sponsored that? I can't believe we haven't looked at doing business with them. That's what I'm talking about right there, right? So it's the balance, I think. When you're trying to really build awareness and demand for a product, advertising is the platform. When you're trying to influence and perceptions, right? The brand, right? Sponsorships. And I think magic is in the mix. Okay, so let's go into our next topic here. 8 ways to adjust your marketing strategies right now. Okay, number one, now is not the time to keep your marketing on autopilot. Keep saying and doing the same things that you've done for the last 3, 4, 5 years, right? Is you've got to make some adjustments to the way you're marketing your company, your products, your services right now. Autopilot will send you into the ocean. Okay. Number two, it's less about your products and services, and it's more about content right now. It's more about the problems, the challenges, the goals, the opportunities. So you want to step away from, we market whatever, right? And you want to ask yourself, what are people really buying? For example, I know all of you have probably marketers in this session. I know you've heard this quote. People don't buy 3/4-inch drill bits. They buy 3/4-inch holes. So what are they really buying here, the bit or the hole? They're really buying the end is the hole. What do they want? A clean, precise hole. So, maybe it sounds like a little crude, but I'm going to say, what are your holes? Right? What are the holes that you can help your customers fill right now? Become essential. That's the challenge. Setting down and asking yourself, what specific pain, what challenges are your customers having right now, right? And put all of your focus on a discussion around the challenge and a collaboration on how to solve the challenge. Here's a few questions that, if you haven't thought about these yet, will really prime your Marcom pump. What is one major problem that your customers are facing right now, right? Be timely, be relevant, that you can help them address. And if you don't know, pick up the phone and call 10 or 20 of your customers. They'll tell you. What is one big outcome they're looking for in their business right now that's top of the mind, that's keeping them awake at night, that's challenging them every single day? What are their pain points, right? Number 4, identify your points of access to your market, meaning where are your customers looking to for answers right now? Websites, right? Trade publications, social media groups. Where are they looking for answers? Internal, right? And then who are they looking to? Who are the subject matter experts, the key opinion leaders in your market? Who are customers looking to? Where are they looking? Who are they looking to? And here's a really good question to ask. What product or service, if a potential customer buys or inquires about, makes you the next logical consideration? These will give you a really nice laundry list of points of access in terms of where they're looking. You'll figure out the content, you'll figure out the verbiage, you'll figure out the dialogue, all the stuff that you need to adjust your MarCom, your marketing communications right now, to make sure that you're relevant. Write these two phrases down. They're not in your workbook. Very important. Write them down. Relevance gets you noticed. Importance gets you engagement. So the major question for everybody on this webinar is marketers. How are we relevant to our market right now? And what is important about what we do, right? Because if it's relevant, they'll notice you. If it's important, they'll engage with you. And it is you and our job as marketers to figure that out. You know, there's an old saying, the buyer's perception is the seller's reality, right? Okay, number 5. When it comes to a customer buying a product, buying a service, changing a process, changing a procedure, switching vendors, whatever, there are 2 major questions in their mind. And as Stephen Covey said so eloquently, don't major in minor things, major in the majors. Here's question number 1. Why at all? Why should I even be interested in you? Why should I be interested in what you sell? Why should I be interested in what you're talking about, right? And number 2, okay, I'm interested in what you do. Now the question will shift to why you? There's other people that I can buy this product or service from, right? There's other ways that I can solve this problem. Why is your way, the right way, the best way, the safest, prudent, practical, most logical, smartest, lowest risk choice, right? So why at all? Why you? Now, how do you answer the why at all question? Your value proposition. If you have not sat down and clearly defined a timely, relevant, important value proposition, and you are not communicating that through every touch point, that's what you got to get to work on right now, your value proposition. The second one is why you. That is your unique selling proposition. You have got to determine what is it that makes you, the individual, your company, your products, your services, different in a meaningful way to the customer, right? And that's what you've got to work on, the value prop and the USP. And if you don't have a laser sharp value prop and USP, that's what you need to work on, okay? And number 8, because we've lost our ability to get close right now, you know, social distancing and everything else, is if you're not doing a lot in the online world, you have to bring it online now. You have to expand your online marketing and your presence, and you have to tradition. I know right now that only 20 to 40% of exhibitors on average are feeling confident enough to step into the virtual exhibiting space. I think that is a fatal business mistake, right? Out of sight really is out of mind, and you do not want to go out of sight for the next 6, 9, 12 months. And so I encourage all of you, there may be fear, there may be lack of, I'm not sure how or if I can do this, but as Informa brings you these virtual opportunities, jump in with both feet. Jump in, right? Because if you don't, you're likely to fall out of sight, and out of sight truly is out of mind. Okay. There's a lot of content here, but this is, when I really sat down, I said, what do we as business people have to really be thinking on? We got to move from fear to courage, right? We've got to stay visible. We got to stay present. We have to adjust how we're staying. Now we got to adjust our sales strategies, okay? Acknowledge the pandemic, right? It would be tone deaf to not. You'd be amazed at some of the emails and some of the phone calls that I get. It's all about them. It's all about their product. It's all about their service. Hey, there's an old saying, people don't, key phrase, if you haven't heard this, write it down. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And by acknowledging, right, this, you're demonstrating caring about people. And by the way, the first buying decision in every major purchase is people. People, company, product, money issues, time to buy, right? So acknowledge it. Number 2, be interested, not interesting. Demonstrate genuine interest in the human being that you're reaching out to. Every single person today, make sure that you let them know that you're checking in on them personally, that they're okay, that their family's okay, right? And then transition over to their business, right? Open-ended questions. How is this impacting your business? And give them the psychological space to talk and share. Listen, a lot of your stuff is virtual, maybe Zoom on the phone, have a notepad in hand. Listen with high intention. I will guarantee you they will voice a need somewhere in their dialogue with you. But here's the thing. Don't pounce on the need, right? As soon as I got it. I know what the problem is. Let me come in, bull in a china shop and kick the doors down and solve this for you, right? There's a little more onion peeling that has to go on right now. So don't pounce on the need. Acknowledge the need. Talk about the need. Get them talking about the need, but don't be too fast to jump in and put out the fire, right? Number 3, demonstrate vulnerability. This is impacting everybody. Authenticity is the phrase that you hear now. Vulnerability, authenticity. It is okay, to share that you're struggling with this, that your business is struggling with this. Everybody is, right? It's that human connection that'll come through. But be optimistic. Try not to get too deep and dark down in these fear-based, these negative conversation, these rabbit holes. This is a temporary issue. It will come to pass. And all of us, let's put our attention on a better tomorrow, not how horrible things are today. Number 5, solidarity, right? One of the best things you can do with your customer and everybody you come in contact with is communicate that position that we all need each other. We all need to work together. We need to spend less time focusing on what's different and more time focusing on how we're similar, right? And let's work together to bring ourselves, our companies, our industry, and our nation out of this. So build solidarity with your customers and your prospects. Number 6, questions, right? Open-ended questions, the crowbar to the mind. Find their major need, get them to voice how urgent it is to solve. Number 7, don't pitch. This is not the time to go into strong sales pitches. Keep collaboration, the two of you looking back. Hey, key phrase, another one, it just came through me, write it down. If you want to be a great salesperson today, don't be a great salesperson. Be a great, here comes the phrase, write it down, co-buyer. Co-buyer. I'm not here to sell you anything, right? I'm here to help you. Understand where you're at, where you're trying to go, what the obstacles. See if I can't work collaboratively with you to help you get to where you want to go, right? Keep problems and solutions at the top of the mind. When it comes to money, there is more pressure than you will ever see in your life to justify the spend. Many companies in response to the pandemic have gone into cash protection mode. They're extremely fearful about letting go of a dollar, and it is your job to help them understand that $1 kept in the bank is a lot less valuable than the $5, $10, or $20 that you can help them gain or save. But the onus is on you, it's on me, it's on all of us to provide clear and honest cost justification, right? Number 9, flexibility is everything. Be flexible. Bonuses, discounts, extended payment, financing terms. Flexibility is so important today, right? More so than ever right now. Number 10, patience. Just know that fear is gripping many people. Fear of loss, fear of an uncertain tomorrow. Buying decisions today are being made slower. There's more people looking at the decision, and they're more carefully scrutinized than ever before. And that's just how it is. I'm not going to be able to change that. So I've got to adjust my expectations as to how fast, right, the speed of deals. Before, I could get on the phone, have one phone call, send a proposal over, and in 3 days have a signed contract. Today, it's going to a committee, another committee, and I got 27 people looking at a decision that honestly, in the scheme of things, in terms of risk, is a zero. And yet it's perceived. And number 11, final, positioning. You want to have the position. It's not me seller, you buyer. I want the position of a sustaining partnership, that I am in this with you for the long haul. And I'm going to do everything I can do to help you get to where you're trying to go. Zig Ziglar said it so eloquently, and you may want to jot this final one down on adjusting your sales strategies. The great Zig said, you'll get everything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. And that is really, I don't think you can say it better than that right now. All right, so let's transition to exhibiting now. We've got about 12 minutes left, and the question queue is starting to fill up. And if you let me go, I could go for 3 more hours on any of these topics, but I got to keep on track here. I know we've got a schedule. So number 1, exhibiting as we begin to come out of this. Regardless of what you're hearing in the media, the people I'm following, medical experts, and the research I'm following are suggesting that this pandemic is a lot farther along than we think it is, and that we may be coming out of this sooner than a lot of us think. And here's the thing. People have been separated and isolated for so long, they are desperately craving human connection. So as we begin to reopen the face-to-face exhibiting world, there will be safety protocols unlike you've ever seen in your life. Do not be afraid to step out into it. Encourage everybody you know. We are craving to get back together. Our whole industry, this is what we do, right? It's all about face. And remember this, face-to-face will always be a critical component in the acquisition of a customer, in the retention of a customer, and in the growth of a customer. This pandemic will change things for the short term, but hey, we went through a pandemic 100 years ago, and what happened? 2 or 3 years later, what was happening? No one even remembered it, right? Face-to-face contact, the average salesperson prior to all of this was only seeing 2.3 people on an average day in the field. Trade shows, when we get back to live, the magic power is face, and the magic power is the incredible number of people that you can see in an hour. More in an hour in a day, more in a show than you see in 2 or 3 months. And if you were to go inside the numbers and actually calculate your cost of generating a face-to-face interaction at a trade show, it is significantly less than the cost of a field sales call. In fact, if you want to write this number down, I'll give you the number right now. The average cost of a B2B face-to-face contact at a B2B trade show is $238. The average cost to put a body in front of a body out in a field sales call is $1,114. And I've got a formula when we get back to live that I'll be happy to share with you through Informa. You can run your own numbers. All right, final poll, and we're going to hit virtual. How many of you today that are on this webinar with me, how many of you have participated in a virtual expo as an exhibitor so far? Okay, the poll is open. I'll give you just a moment. Oh, you guys and gals are fast. Thank you. We're at 75% already. So the numbers are surprising to me. Melissa, take a look. 38% of our exhibitors on this webcast today have already been part of a virtual exhibit. So congratulations, you're pioneers. You guys stepped out into that. I'm sure you've learned some valuable lessons about what to do, and hopefully you'll be able to bring that as we do our future webinars on virtual, and maybe share some of your insights, because those of you that have already done it, you definitely have some experience to share. For those of you who haven't, and maybe feeling, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I should do this. I want to hit some content here on why I think virtual exhibiting is both a smart and a prudent play during our crisis right now. As I said earlier, you still got a business to run. You still have customers to serve, right? The second thing is the companies who keep their marketing budgets equal continue. All the research I've been able to find over recessions, all the way back to the Great Depression, found that companies who keep their budget the same experience 3 times the sales growth and faster recovery versus those who reduce or cut. Virtual exhibits cost significantly less than a face-to-face exhibit. When you get inside the numbers, you'll come to realize that you can execute a virtual for maybe a third to a quarter of the cost of a live. And the cool thing is that they offer similar benefits as a live because they address the 3 primary reasons why people attend trade shows in general. They come to learn, they come to network, and they come to source, look for products, services, solutions. And what's cool is, even though we're not getting the live face-to-face element, and yet with Zoom we're kind of, right? These 3 needs are still addressed through a virtual. So if you have any hesitation about coming into the virtual arena as an exhibitor and you're worried or fearful about it, and you've got maybe a boss or a partner who's saying, I don't know, maybe we should just wait this out, share this information with them, okay? There's no travel, longer exposure time. The events are typically, more days and they're open longer. The expanded reach, the number of people that can attend a virtual versus a live is significantly higher. The virtual events tend to be more intentional versus spontaneous. When you're at a live event, you have your booth set up, right? And hopefully you do your pre-marketing, and the attendee you hope gets into the exhibit hall and passes your booth and sees it, and something makes them want to stop. In a virtual world, it can be much more intentional. You have the ability to target more effectively. You have the ability to see who's online. You have the ability to reach out with chat, via text chat, video chat, scheduled meetings. So it can be a lot more intentional. You don't have to rely as less. Booth size, by the way, goes out the window on a virtual event. Doesn't matter if you're in a 10 by 10 or a 50 by 50 when it goes virtual. So you get kind of a level playing field here too. And the other thing I get excited about is the digital footprint. Because we know who registered, who attended, when they attended, how long they attended, what they did they stop at your booth, what of your content did they consume, how long did they watch your videos. There's a digital footprint. You have access to more data, possibly than you've ever had access to before in your exhibiting career. And these are some pretty killer advantages, I think. The challenge, what makes it different, is we just don't have as much control over how much time attendee spends on the virtual event. When they get on a plane and fly into the convention city, right, we've kind of got them. They go to the hotel, they go to the restaurant, they go to the convention center, they go to the bar, they go to wherever they go, right? But we've kind of got them, in our tribe for these 3 days or however long they're there on the virtual event. They can peer in and peer out, and so we just don't have as much control. The distraction level, when the majority of people are still working at home and working on their computer, the distraction level is higher. It's magnified. I live in North Carolina, and none of our children are in schools, so our parents are having to not only maintain their jobs, but are having to be teachers, homeschooling, so to speak. And so the distraction level is higher. What's important on the virtual is content marketing. Content is king on virtual. Content that is relevant, important, and scarce. Write that phrase down, scarce. Scarcity of content when you move to the online world is one of the absolute keys. They have to feel like they can get something from your virtual exhibit that they will not be able to find easily out there just by doing a Google search or whatever. And also rich media, your ability to really optimize video and all of the functionality of your virtual. I would say this to every exhibitor that is getting ready to enter the virtual world: less is more. Write that down. Less is more. If you have 7 divisions and 24 solutions, don't even think about bringing and featuring them all, right? It's going to be too much. The hierarchy is lead with new. New is a magnet. It's the number one reason people go to live shows. It's a top reason why they're coming to virtual. They want to know what and who's new. Which of your product services are hot, trending, top of the mind? Feature those. And of course, your pillar products or your pillar services. Make sure you're reinforcing your market position on those, but do not try to bring everything. Don't try to promote all of this stuff. Less is more in the virtual space. All you need is a hook to engage them. Then you can cross-sell anything, but don't try to come and be everything to everybody. You'll get lost in the noise. Your 4 success factors for a virtual exhibit is, as you come on board, make sure you are in the proper category or directory listings. One of the primary ways attendees navigate virtual exhibits is by product categories. And so make sure you are absolutely listed in the right categories. Number 2, that virtual experience. What are they going to see? What are they going to do? What are they going to learn? What are they going to get by visiting your exhibit will be critical. You've got to design an exhibit that is worthy of their time virtually. You've got to promote. You cannot just, roll out your virtual exhibit and put a staffer on during the open hours and wait and hope. You've got to promote before, during, and if the event is live afterwards, after the event, because your virtual exhibit stays open for weeks or months after it, right? And please remember this, Informa, again, you have a world-class partner here. They're going to spend every dollar they can find. They're going to turn over every leaf they can to drive attendees to the virtual event and to the virtual exhibit hall, but you got to do your part. You're going to have to really ramp up, that marketing component, letting people know you are, giving them a reason, and promoting. Finally, capture. When you interact, whether it's a chat, a video chat, a scheduled meeting, they request information, you got to capture visitor information, and you have to follow up, right? Okay. We've covered a lot here. I'm going to take a peek in the question queue. And Melissa, I know you probably maybe have a few things on your mind while I was firing away there. If there's anything you want to share while I'm looking into the question queue, fire away, and I'm going to start firing the questions.
Thanks, Jefferson. Well, I just wanted to say that I hope everybody got some takeaways from the session today. As I mentioned earlier, Informa Markets Engineering is launching several virtual events that will take place this fall, including the Powder Show Digital Flow, which will take place on October 1st, Biomed Digital, which will take place November 4th and 5th, the Battery Show Digital Days will take place November 12th through the 14th, and then Virtual Engineering Week, which is November 30th through December 4th. There's something in all of our digital events for the exhibitors, depending on what market you're involved in. So if you want to learn more about those or get involved in those, I think we have another slide that has our contact information. So please give us a call, send us an email. Our team will be happy to partner with you on the success that you can experience at our virtual events.
All right, thank you, Melissa. Yeah, and that's the message that I want to reiterate to every exhibitor here. I think it's important that you view Melissa and the entire Informa team as your marketing partners. They are super sharp. They really understand this whole world, and they exist for one reason, is to make you successful. And they honestly believe right down to their core that if you're not successful, they're not successful. And so never be shy about emailing, picking up the phone. We're all working toward the same outcome, is that helping you succeed. That's what it's all about. Let me take a look in the question queue. We had a couple people ask about the workbook. The workbook was emailed. If you couldn't find it in your email, it may have landed into a junk or spam filter. I would encourage you to look there. On the live webinar, I did mention early that you could click the handout tab, and the workbook is right there. Just click handouts. You'll see like an Adobe icon. Click that, press print. Let me see. Someone said, are you going to send out a recording? We are recording this event, and we will be posting it on the Informa websites. It will be available for unlimited replay viewing, so you'll be able to do that. Let me see. A couple of these were comments. One of them was like the huge reduction in travel, that they thought that was a really exciting benefit about virtual, the amount of money they would save on travel. I agree with that. Today it costs, by the time you get air, hotel, ground transportation, and meals, it costs anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 to get somebody to and back from a show. So the cost saving is huge. My advice about your cost saving is put some of that in the bank, but reinvest some of that into marketing your virtual exhibit. Because again, that's it, just like live, you're going to win the game by can you get enough of the right people to your virtual exhibit. Here's a comment that I want to share from Rich. Rich said, he said, although his budget went down, his marketing budget, it was primarily because of live shows that were canceled, meaning that they just put that live event money back, but he did not reduce his marketing activity. So that's very true, Rich. And putting some away is fine, right? But the fact that you kept your activity level up, round of applause for you. Jennifer said, what is the cost for a virtual versus the cost trade show face-to-face? That data is not out yet. We're really early in the game so far. I can tell you that the cost of a virtual exhibit, again, being anywhere from 10 to 20% of executing a live exhibit, the cost is going to be way down. But as of right now, we're so early in the game, no one's really compiled that data. But you got me interested, so I'll be doing some research over the next several weeks to see if I can run that down. See what else. Someone asked me, I'm surprised you aren't taking advantage of video but are using a deck and an audio. Why is that? I feel like people are zoomed out. I feel like most of you have probably been setting at Zoom events with 4, 8, 12, 24 faces on the screen. And my training style for a web event is hear it, see it, write it, do it. Certainly I could have had my little face up in the corner there and you could have looked at me or not. But the way I built this with the content and the workbook, I feel like I want you focused on the content, not me, right? So that's the best that I got for you on that, even though I am starting a summit tomorrow and I will be on there. But for today, no. And maybe the 2 webinars coming up, if you really want that, then I'll fire up my camera and you can see me up in the corner firing away here. Let's see what else. In your opinion, what is the long-term viability of virtual events? Will the concept stay after the pandemic, or will it come back as strong? And do you see any kind of a hybrid? I think, Steve, this is a great question. I thought early about this, and I felt that because we were forced to virtual, to serve our markets, that it might be a one and done, but I don't believe that anymore. I believe now that virtual, the advantages and benefits of virtual are strong. They are not going to replace live face-to-face events. This is what we do, people, right? I think if we get it right as an industry, I think that if we can have our attendees come and have a good experience and our exhibitors come and have a good experience, then I think we certainly will see hybrid events as the new reality, if you will. But I think, given our industry, the industry that we're talking to, I work in a lot of manufacturing industries, and where you got to bring, people want to touch it and kick it and push the buttons, and it's hard to simulate that online, So to answer your question is, if we get it right, I think hybrid will be an absolute part of the future going forward. Melissa, do you have any thoughts on that, about that question about the viability of virtual? Is it just a stopgap, or do you see this? Does Informa see this as more of a long-term strategy?
I don't think it is a stopgap. I think that it I think virtual allows us to have a connection with our community throughout the year. And so our strategy moving forward will be to incorporate virtual along with live events. So you mentioned a hybrid model, and that's the direction that we're going in.
I agree. I think that's where we as an industry are going. You know, when I showed you all the unique benefits of the virtual and the hybrid, I think it's going to give us the ability to obviously continue to do our live and have really good turnout there, but I think it's also going to expand our reach. So I agree. I think virtual is here to stay, not as a replacement of, but as a supplement or an adjunct to. That would be my personal opinion on that. Someone asked, I missed the beginning. Can I get the slideshow? The entire webinar was recorded and will be available on the Informa website, and you can reach out to your account exec. Let me see. What programs do you recommend for creating digital marketing? That is a really broad question. I'm not sure exactly what to say live on that. What I would suggest is maybe doing a Google search for digital marketing content creation. And I'm sure not only will content come up, but also maybe agencies and firms who specialize in that. Another question, Angelina's got some questions about the Battery Show Digital Days. Angelina, I would encourage you to reach out directly to your account exec at Informa with specific questions about the Battery Show Digital Days. They'll be able to answer everything. Let me see what else we got. Oh, the next webinar, yes, everyone's asking about the following two. We will be doing optimizing and driving traffic to your virtual exhibit on October 14th. All of you will be receiving invitations and registration links for that. That is the event. Several of your questions on here are about what does the platform look like and the different functionality. We're going to do a deep dive on that event. So please put on your calendar Wednesday, October 14th. At 2 p.m. Eastern, we are going to take you inside and go through all of that. It'll be from 2 to 3 p.m. also. Chris gives you a shout out, Melissa. Thanks so much for putting this together. Great webinar.
Thanks, Chris.
Let me see. Next question. We have very small products that people always want to pick up and touch. Tips on how to simulate this. This is where I think video is going to come into play for you, whether it is I'm not intimately familiar with the platform yet, but I will be doing a deep dive over the next few weeks. This is where you're going to be able to use video for product demonstrations to be able to really get people to see what it looks like to hold it in their hands. Let's see. What else? I think that's all I'm seeing for now. So I want to say thanks so much for being with me today. I hope my hope and wish and dream for all of you today was that at the beginning that maybe we can start to try to reduce a little bit of the fear, start moving towards confidence and courage, and that you really walk out of here with some sound ideas, a couple little shifts. You don't have to do everything, but do something. Find one shift you're going to make in your current marketing. Find one shift you're going to make in your current selling process, and get yourself ready and prepared for the virtual events that are coming up. And if you will do those three things, I hope you will be able to say that your time spent with me and Melissa today was well spent. I look forward to seeing you out on the path. And with that, any closing comments, Melissa, from Informa?
No, just thank you again, everybody. Please feel free to reach out to us if there's anything that we can help you on. As Jefferson mentioned, the next webinar is going to go into more detail on the platform and functionality of the platform for specifically battery digital days and virtual engineering weeks. So if you're part of those events or considering being part of those events, you'll definitely want to come back on October 14th and be a part of the next webinar. But in the meantime, thank you again.
All right. Yeah, thanks so much, everybody. Take care, stay safe, stay sound, stay positive, and we look forward to seeing you on a Informa Market Engineering virtual event very soon. Have a great day, everybody.